for the proposed Sri Ram temple in Ram Janma Bhoomi, the Bhumi Puja and the foundation stone laying were performed by the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, on 5th August 2020.
Ayodhya. Yodhya means to fight, but there is a letter before Yodhya, that is A. In Sanskrit, this letter affects the meaning of word Yodhya in a negative way but gives a positive meaning. Ayodhya, not to fight or not to be fought. This is the meaning attested by the Atharva Veda. Saketa is the older name for the city attested in Jain, Buddhist, Greek, and Chinese sources. The Adipurana states that Ayodhya is called Saketa because of its magnificent buildings, which had significant banners as their arms. But the ancient Hindu Sanskrit language epics, such as the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, mention the legendary city Ayodhya, which was the capital city of the legendary Ikshvaku kings of Kosala, including Rama. Neither these texts nor the earlier Sanskrit texts, such as Vedas, mention a city called Saketa. Around the 4th century, the region came under the control of Guptas, who revived Brahmanism. And in the 3rd century, Ayodhya came under the rule of the Mauryan emperor Ashoka. In the 1st century, the kingdom was annexed to the Kushan Empire by Kanishka. According to the Hindu beliefs, in Treta Yuga, King Ikshvaku, son of the first human Manu, founded the Solar or the Raghuvanshi dynasty, which ruled over Kosala with Ayodhya as its capital. It is to King Dasarath of Ayodhya and his wife Kausalya that Lord Rama was born. Entering into the Mughal and British period. Under the Mughal rule, the Babri Mosque was constructed in Ayodhya. The city was the capital of the province of Awadh, which is also believed to be a variant of the name Ayodhya. After the death of Aurangzeb in 1707 AD, the central Muslim rule weakened and Awadh became virally independent, with Ayodhya as its capital. However, the rulers became dependent on Hindu nobles and control over the temples and pilgrimage centers was relaxed. Sadat Ali Khan, Nawab of Awadh, bestowed the principality of Ayodhya on his loyal Brahmin soldier Dwijdiyo Mishra of Kashyapa Gotra for quelling revenue rebels in eastern Uttar Pradesh. Coming to the British rule, Ayodhya was annexed in 1856 by the British rulers. The rulers of Awadh were Shia and the Sunni groups had already protested against the attitude of the former government. The British crushed the Sunni resistance. In 1857, the British annexed Awadh and subsequently reorganized it into the United Provinces of Agra and Awadh. In 1850s, a group of Hindus attacked the Babri Mosque on the grounds that it was built over the birthplace of the Hindu deity Rama. To prevent further disputes, the British administrators divided the mosque premises between Hindus and Muslims. The first case related to the dispute was filed in January 1885 in the court of the sub-judge Faizabad by Mahant Raghubar Das, regarded as the mascot of the temple movement. Raghubar Das had requested permission to build a temple on a raised platform outside the Babri Masjid, but his plea was rejected. While in the British rule, there were some disputes raised. Henceforth, British government decided to separate the temple and masjid with a fence. From then, Hindus used to worship Lord Rama on a high platform inside the fence and outside the fence of masjid. Muslims used to perform their prayers in the masjid itself. In 1949, some Hindus silently entered the masjid and placed the idols of Lord Rama and Sita in the masjid. On the next day, Muslims saw the idols of Rama and Sita in the masjid and were shocked. They gave a complaint in the police station. As the news was known, police had locked the area, thinking that many disputes may get raised. They terminated the offerings of prayers of both Hindus and Muslims. The idols of Rama and Sita were left over in the masjid itself. According to Muslims, in 1528, while Ayodhya was being ruled by the Mughal Emperor Babur, the orders were given to construct masjid. This matter was written on the walls of masjid also, but there is no writing that the masjid was built by destroying the temple of Lord Rama. But there were many proofs that Mughal emperors had constructed masjids by destroying many temples. So people used to think that this masjid was also constructed in the same way. In 1717, a king of Rajput dynasty named Jai Singh bought all the 2.77 acres of land and made the land to get registered on the name of Lord Sri Ram. He used to send Hindus also to offer the prayers to Lord Rama. These were the points raised by three organizations: Sunni Central Waqf Board, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, and Nirmohi Akara in the years 1959, 1961, and 1964 in the court. From then, the case about the 2.77 acres land was running in the court. In 1986, Vishwa Hindu Parishad had filed another case in the court, that is, to allow Hindus into the land for offering their prayers. BHP won the case, court gave permissions. Henceforth, after 37 years, that is, in 1986, the gates of the land were opened. Hindus started offering their prayers. Thinking that is the time, they demanded court for giving the land to Hindus. They told about their plan of constructing a temple of Lord Rama. Then, the other two organizations also had started demanding that the land belongs to them. Many BJP leaders supported Vishwa Hindu Parishad. The important people in those BJP leaders were L.K. Advani, Murali Manohar Joshi, A.B. Vajpayee, and Uma Bharati. They used to give speeches regarding the land to grant whole access for Hindu people. They also used to conduct rallies. One day, Vishwa Hindu Parishad and Bharatiya Janata Party people called for a meeting near the masjid. That was on 1992 December 6th. Police had done with their arrangements. They have kept barricades around the disputed land. They were not allowing anyone into the land. Nearly 150,000 Hindus had come to that meeting. The time was 10 am. L.K. Advani and some other BJP leaders gave their speech and had left the place. The time was 12:30 pm. Police were unable to control the people who rushed there because the people were nearly 150,000 but policemen were only 2,000. Suddenly, at that time, people with yellow colored caps broke the barricades and had rushed into the site shouting Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram. They climbed up the masjid by shouting Jai Sri Ram and started hitting the masjid with iron rods and stones. Slowly, all the people started to enter the site. Within 3 hours, they have destroyed the whole masjid. Policemen were helpless at that time. All the people stayed there the whole night chanting Jai Sri Ram. On the next day, they had constructed a small room in the place where they destroyed masjid and placed the idols of Lord Rama and Sita in that room. As this incident happened in the country, in Delhi, Mumbai, Bhopal, Hyderabad, the quarrels between Hindus and Muslims were started. Nearly 2,000 people were dead in these quarrels. In 2010, Allahabad court gave orders that the land belongs to all the three organizations, but all the three organizations were unhappy regarding this judgment. Then the case was filed in Supreme Court. After all the decisions and proofs made by the Archaeological Survey of India, Supreme Court has given judgment on November 9, 2019. The judgment was like this: in the land of 2.77 acres, Sri Ram temple can be constructed because the land was registered on the name of Lord Rama. As the masjid was demolished illegally, The central or state government should give 5 acres of land to construct Masjid in Ayodhya. All the three organizations accepted the judgment of Supreme Court. There were no disputes happened in India at that time. Hence, here the case was closed. And now, on August 5th, foundation stone laying was done by the Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji. This is about Ayodhya. Thank you.
Like and subscribe our channel. For more updates, hit the bell icon.